I'm the CEO and founder of Hypercurrent. The groundwork for Hypercurrent started when I lived here in Australia before I moved to China in 2010. And I spent many years in China developing the idea and concept and insight that I use today in my company, to build our products and build our services for our customers. I wouldn't say that I chose my occupation so much as it chose me. I'm a maker at heart. I'm an entrepreneur, so it comes naturally to me to make things better. When I see that something is broken and could and should be better, I can't help myself. I go in and try to do that. And that's very much what I'm doing with Hypercurrent. When and how did I hear about COVID-19 the first time? It's always been really personal for me, because even though I live in Australia, I have spent quite a bit of time in China building a business and living, and I've got family and friends over there. And most importantly, my children were holidaying in China in December of 2019. So once the pandemic started to spread, before they called it COVID-19, we started to get messages and on WeChat first. My WeChat started to get on fire even from out here in Australia. And that was friends and family, telling us what was going on back there. This was before the virus started to spread here in Australia. So from December to February, a lot of the news that came to me about the virus came from friends and family who were surrounding my kids. So hearing from the virus that way was somewhat strange, because it wasn't yet a big deal in the West. It was certainly making waves, but it had not yet reached, at least Australia, it had not yet reached Australia. And so whilst I continued to go about my life here in January and February, everything carried on as usual, and it felt a bit alienating and isolated, because I was experiencing some of the fear and anxiety of that in China. I was hearing some harrowing stories from friends over WeChat, and yet my friends here and my family here in Australia were oblivious to it. It wasn't yet our problem. And so we had two sources of information. One that was looking at the tragedy from the outside, fairly, I would say, cold in an objective way. And obviously stories coming back from inside China who were really, really personal and really difficult to read sometimes. Having a really strong connection with China has put me and my team, in the front row of the pandemic very much. You see, Hypercurrent is a China-centric software company. It means we help B2B companies who have business with or in China. And we started to hear very quickly from customers, from partners, of the disruption that was happening, since December and January. So, or also from not just my personal perspective, but also from a professional and business experience, we were experiencing the pandemic before it arrived here in Australia. The relationships that we already had became much stronger during the pandemic, and that's both on a personal level and professional level. What the pandemic did is that ended up spending so much more time with the kids. And this is not a time that you usually have as a parent, besides from weekend and really, really long holidays. But being home in quarantine or in lockdown 24/7 is something that's quite unique for young children. Once they start going to primary school, these moments become very, very rare as they go to school during the day and during the week. And then they've got activities during the weekends or birthday parties. And you end up seeing them much less, I guess, normally. But for them, being at home all the time really got us to do so many more things together. The cooking was such a collaborative effort for a while. Nighttime was much longer because obviously with no school, you got the kids at home. So our core family relationships became stronger, but also the friends that I had who lived in other states or in other countries, we also got a little stronger because we ended up spending more time talking. So during the pandemic, we ended up making time to speak almost every 2 days with key friends. And we've kept that up, and we're really, really close now. So close, and now that, it's almost odd to start the day and see 10 o'clock arrive and haven't spoken to a friend yet on the phone. So in that sense, it's become stronger. Of course, I think some relationships also suffered. The one that were more superficial, I think, dropped out. The people, we got busy, and I guess, we prioritized the relationships that were closest to us. But for the people who weren't close by, COVID and the quarantine that it brought about and the lockdown that it brought about really forced us to communicate more deliberately, since we couldn't see each other face to face. We had to be a bit more deliberate about our communication. But it also meant that we could communicate more. So rather than a 20 minutes coffee stop, we would spend 40 minutes on the phone while we're cooking or while we're doing other things. On some occasions, we did Zoom birthday parties. And I realized that we went to birthday parties on Zoom that we wouldn't have gone to in person because we clashed with our weekend activities, for example. And we even had, Zoom classes with people that we would not exercise with because they're in another state. So in many, many respects, we've communicated more. The communication was of a better quality. But yes, we've also trimmed up who we communicated with. So our list of relationship became a bit smaller, but of much, much stronger and better quality. How did we get involved in the Great Human Connection Project? This was a project that was brought to us by one of our executives in China, and she believed that it was a worthwhile project to get involved with. Obviously, it would have been nice if I personally could have gone, but COVID-19 and the pandemic being what it is, there was basically no way to fly even out of our state. Fortunately, we had 4 great team members over who participated, and from what I hear, it was a great effort.